Alright, hello, I'm the Weakest Link 64, and this is my 3 weapons Hades submission for the only marathon. 3 weapons, let's explain the category a little bit. 3 weapons means that we're going to take 3 different weapons and beat the game with each of them. For this run, I'll be using the bow on Hera aspect, I'll be using the shield on Beowulf aspect, and I'll be using the gun on Aeris aspect. Without further ado, let's get into the run. Timing would start right now in a run. Go back here. Alright, so the first aspect we're doing is Aspect of Hera bow. The reason Aspect of Hera is so good is because it is one of the 2 weapons in this game that we would call a caspect. Basically this means that both Hera and Beowulf are what we call caspects. Essentially they are both weapons that you load your cast into them to use. The reason this is so good is because casts in this game do a lot of damage. They also scale really nicely with the palms. So yeah, casts just do a crap load of damage. The reason this is so good with the bow is because you can kind of just one-tap enemies like this, as I'm doing, and just do a lot of damage. We were using Crush Shot because it does, not only does it do some of the most, or rather, but not only does it do some of the biggest damage out of any cast in the game, it also drops immediately if you kill something with Crush Shot. The cast stone immediately drops on the ground, allowing you to pick it back up and do damage again with it. Oh, shot that too early. That sucks. I think we're rolling this. That's fine. Alright. Essentially, we want 2 main boons from gods that are not Hermes, and we want, next we want to try to get Demeter for our build. So a lot of Hades running is all about getting the right build and getting the correct boons as quick as possible. Hera is also nice because it doesn't require a whole lot for it to go right. Some builds really need... Can I hit that guy? Whoops. Some builds really need a lot to go right. For example, the fists need 4 boons, one of them being a duo boon, right away, or really as soon as possible. Thank you, Chaos. That was really weird. Whereas Hera really only needs 2 main boons, and then it just needs another decent boon from what's his name, from Hermes. We also got Artemis. Artemis is really good on the attack because she introduces a mechanic called critical hits, which, unlike most games where critical hits kind of just do double damage, critical hits in this game do triple damage, and they do multiply your other boons and other buffs. So you essentially do a ridiculous amount of damage. That's fine. We're going to do exit wounds. We're going to take the palm here. Yeah, so basically we want to put as many palms in our cast as we can, because casts get a lot of good scaling off of pomegranates. And so, like that one, I just gained like 50 damage on my cast, which is very nice. Oh, still got hit by that somehow. Symphony is a little bit annoying to deal with. Okay. Here we go. Alright. Symphony down. That is the first one. That's the first area. There are 4 areas in Hades. The first one is Tartarus, which is the easiest area, and then we're going to Asphadel. Then there'll be Elysium, which is probably the hardest area in my opinion. Alright, we're just gonna go. And then after that is Styx, which is the final area. So next we're going to be looking for Snowburst on Demeter. Essentially the reason Snowburst is so good is because it says whenever you cast, you just do a flat amount of damage in an AoE burst around you. That's really nice because, unlike most weapons, where Snowburst, you actually have to wait through the cast animation to have it take effect. On Hera, it actually does the effect when you load your cast. So you just press the button and it just does it without costing any animation. So it's just free damage that also solves one of Hera's main weaknesses, and that it has trouble on AoE and dealing with smaller enemies. However, Snowburst kind of gets rid of that weakness. And we should have it now, as long as we get a little bit lucky. Or roll for it. We're going to try again. We got Rare Crop. We're going to take Rabuel. So we didn't get it, that's fine. Nice, we got Eurydice. You also may notice in the top right corner, it says we're playing on a modded game. The mods that we're using in this game are... There's a few game-changing ones that don't... It doesn't change it that much. It mostly just eliminates some of the bad RNG in this game. For example, one of the ones we use is a mod called Don't Get Vareemed. That makes it so that, you might have noticed the very first boon we took showed all 4 core boons. It showed the attack, special, dash, and cast boon as options to take. This is good because a runner named Vareem at AGDQ about a year ago essentially got screwed over because he couldn't get the boons he wanted. He couldn't get the cast boon for Beowulf, which is a really big deal. And so they made that mod and named it after him. And it's kind of one of the best mods ever. Because it's really annoying when you have to roll for your first boon, and really frustrating. And so it's nice to be able to just have it be forced for you. Actually, probably should have taken the palm there. That's fine. Another mod we're using here is one that forces your first hammer. So your first hammer is always guaranteed and you get to choose it. And so we chose Flurry Shot for this, and that is the case for every single weapon. There are some aspects that you kind of just have to reset for the hammer. Beowulf is one of the ones we're actually going to be using, that you really just need to reset for the hammer in a speedrun setting, and it's really frustrating when you don't get the hammer that you need. Right now we're fighting the0nly. Some of the other mods in this game that we're using, we have some that removes some of the bad rooms. For example, we've removed Thanatos in RTS settings because Thanatos loses a lot of time if you get him. I'll get my other cast really quick. Come back. Okay, that was a bad the0nly fight, but that's okay. The other main mod that we're using that really helps is a mod that makes it so that the Satyr sack at the end of the game is always 2 chambers. Essentially, at the end of the game, you have to find a Satyr sack. What do you want? I think just want this thing. The Satyr sack at the end of the game can show up anywhere between 2 and 5 chambers that you have to clear at the end of the game. Which can waste upwards of almost 2 minutes if you get 5 sacked, which hardly ever happens, but is really unfortunate when it does happen. So the mod forced it to always be 2, so you'll never have that that problem at the end of the game. I can't hit these guys for some reason. Okay, there we go. Elysium is a little bit difficult because the enemies have somewhat unpredictable movement. Okay, we're gonna take a chain shot here. The other main ones is we have a mod that forces the mini bosses in Asphadel and in Elysium. Because some of the mini bosses take up a lot of time. For example, the barge in Asphadel takes up a lot of time, and the Asterius fight in the Elysium takes up a lot of time as well. Yeah, so like in Elysium, this is always going to be the butterfly ball. I guess we're taking this. Get it. Take it, please. Alright, I think that's it for the mods, actually. We're getting a little bit unlucky with the build, so we're not getting Snowburst. That's okay. Oh, come on. Yeah, this is definitely the slowest of the weapons. This one is one of the most difficult weapons probably in the game to play. It's also one of the most fun though, because you kind of just shred everything, which is really nice. Oh, these shield guys are kind of annoying too. Okay, that was painful, but we're out. The game still doesn't want to give me Snowburst, which is part of the reason that was so painful. Alright, that is Theseus and the Minotaur. When they group up, it's really nice, because you can kind of just eliminate both of them at the same time and just do crap loads of damage to them. I need to get rid of my Dionysus Aid. Perfect. Alright. And we're on to the final area. So yeah, this is where I was talking about the satyr sacks. Why did I do that? Oops. Saw armies and I was like, piece of candy. Anyway, this is where the satyr sacks are, so no matter where, no matter what, we'll always only get 2 sacks. We'll never get more than 1, or more than 2 rather. That's because of the mod we have. And so that's going to make everything really nice. Can you hit him? Thank you. I hate that glitch. Essentially there's a glitch for some reason in this game that happens where you can't interact with anything until you pick up a cast stone. I don't know why it happens, but it's very odd. Oh, these guys are really annoying to hit with that snow burst. Oh, I should have picked Demeter there. RTA is definitely one of the harder ones to pick because when you play for in-game time, you can pause and think about your decisions, whereas in RTA you kind of just have to go. 3 Opens is an RTA category. Alright, and that is the Satyr Sack. So our cast is pretty strong at this point. Thankfully, Snowburst shouldn't matter a whole lot for the Hades fight. It is nice to have, though. But essentially, right now we have a very strong cast, and yeah, it's time to take down Hades. So I'm going to focus a bit on this fight. Ow. Yeah, the enemies that Hades summons are definitely very annoying. They contribute to a lot of deaths sometimes if you're not being careful. Oh, ow. Alright, and that is weapon 1. Alright, the next weapon we're going to be using is Aeris Rail. So we're going to start off the build. There are 3 main boons we want for this build. And those boons are, the first one we're going to get, Lightning Strike. So I'm going to turn this on. First one right here is going to be Lightning Strike. Essentially, the reason this is so good is because it adds on 15 damage to every single hit time our main attack hits, which essentially more than doubles our attack damage, because each shot does about 10 damage, and this is adding 15 on. So it more than doubles our attack damage. It also makes the attack become an AoE attack because it chains off. Ooh, that's really good. This is the other god we really want for our build, and that is Poseidon. Because the other boon we want is Tidal Dash. Tidal Dash is essentially a dash boon that does a lot of damage in an AoE pattern, and it's just really strong. It does the most damage, and oh wow, we didn't get it. Thanks, Poseidon. Yeah, it does a lot of damage, and is big, and happens whenever we dash. So it basically just gives us free damage by dashing into enemies. Now the other reason Aeris Rail is so good is because, oh, I put the wrong one, that's fine. The main part of the aspect is whenever you are inside the damage range of your, or the damage area of your special when it goes off, you get a global 75% damage buff, which is absolutely ridiculous. So you almost double your damage just for basically playing the game. You kind of just always will have a plus 75 damage buff on. Perfect, here's one of the other boons we want for the run, and that is going to be Static Discharge. Static Discharge is a boon that says whenever you deal damage with an electric attack and an enemy attacks, they take a bunch of damage. And since we are playing with an electric attack on our main attack, and we're constantly shooting it, basically it's kind of just whenever an enemy attacks, they just take 150 damage, which absolutely just shreds all enemies in this game. It does so much damage. It also means that we can leave enemies alone, and they'll just kill themselves as they try to attack you. And so it makes it really nice, because you can kind of just like run around, tap everything a few times, and eventually it'll die. Oop. And we would definitely want to be palming our Static Discharge several times to make its damage a lot more. Oh, I forgot to put what's it called? Tight Deadlight on. Yeah, this shouldn't happen in an RTA setting, this room, because we can take a heat option to turn it off. But that's okay. I'll just remember to do that in the marathon. Oh, right, I almost forgot about this. One of the things that a lot of people ask when they see this game is, why are you playing with heat on? Why wouldn't you play with zero heat? Well, the reason, the first reason, is because it makes some things faster. For example, we play with Extreme Measures 2 on, and this makes the the0nly fight faster because all of the heads will spawn closer together. We play with Forced Overtime because not only does it make enemies move faster and attack you faster, which then triggers Static Discharge, it also makes them spawn in faster. So it's good for almost every weapon, not just for weapons that use Static Discharge. We also, I should be playing with tight deadline on because it basically is non-existent. We're going to be finishing the game way faster than 20 minutes, which is the strictest tight deadline setting. But it also removes the timer room that you saw in Tartarus right there. The timer room is essentially like an auto-scroller room. You have to sit in it for 45 seconds. And 45 seconds is a really long time for a room. Most rooms take about 15.
Made it to Asphadel.
Alright, so now we're in Asphadel. We're hoping to get Tidal Dash as soon as possible. Static Discharge is also super nice for Asphadel because a lot of the enemies in this biome love to jump across the map and just make your life hell. And Static Discharge will basically make it so that if you hit them and they try to jump away from you, the next time they try to attack, they'll die without you having to chase them down, which is super nice. Show me the Tidal Dash. We got Tidal Dash. We're gaming. Alright. Alright, there we go. Alright, the other thing that we want on this weapon, we already got the first piece, but essentially Hermes has two pieces of a really powerful combo called Hyper Delivery. It is Hypersprint plus Rush Delivery. Rush Delivery is a boon that says you turn essentially you turn any speed bonuses you have into extra damage, and it starts at 50% and then maxes out at 100%. And Hypersprint is the other part we already have. Essentially it says after you dash for half a second you have 100% extra movement speed. So when you get Rush Delivery, you at the very least do 1.5 times damage, and at most you do double damage. Additive, I should say. Additive 100% times more damage. Which is super nice. You kind of just start shredding everything if you get it. And it's one of the most powerful combos probably in the game. Alright, and that's the the0nly fight. I can't think of much else to talk about at the moment until we get to probably the next weapon. But if something comes up, I will talk about it. The other thing is I'm aware that my mic picks up the keyboard sounds and it's very loud. I anticipate that I will probably be muting my own mic for the run, possibly, and letting the commentators do the work. Or I will I'll probably turn my noise gate a little bit to try to make it not quite as loud. Either way, I will do whatever I can to make it not so bad on the viewer's ears, because I'm aware that it's loud. Oh, I should actually talk about Rocket Bomb. So you might have noticed that I have changed my special from being essentially a bomb that falls from the sky after about a second after you shoot it. And I've turned it into a projectile that rockets forward. The reason this is so good is because not only do you get to essentially have your special explode immediately, but you also can pair it with another hammer that we unfortunately didn't get, called Cluster Bomb, which does essentially makes you do a shotgun blast of 5 rockets, which is absolutely ridiculous, and it will just completely shred everything in your way. It's definitely Cluster Bomb or Cluster Rockets is definitely one of the reasons that Aeris is either the second best or the best weapon in the game. Simply because it's just such a powerful combo. Like if you use cluster rockets in the face of an enemy, it'll probably one-tap them. It just does so much. We unfortunately did not get rush delivery. We are looking for one more boon, hopefully. We are looking for a boon called Breaking Wave from Poseidon. And the reason that's so good is because the damage from Aeris is really good at single target damage, and a little bit of somewhat good at AoE damage, but it definitely like whittles down health more than it does like big bursts of damage, like something like Beowulf does. That makes it struggle a little bit in sticks, but there is one boon that basically says if you dash and slam something into a wall, you get a huge damage burst from it, and that is Breaking Wave. And Styx has very small rooms, so we'll be dashing around, slamming things into walls, and instantly killing them. Which is what we want from that. Oh, that was Flood Shot, not Tidal Dash. And so that's what we're hoping to get here. It's not a big deal if we don't get it. We probably lose about 10 seconds. But it is still very important for the run. Another boon we'd like to see from Poseidon is, we already saw it once, but we chose Static Discharge over it because Static Discharge is a little bit better, and that is Sea Storm. Essentially it'll stack more damage onto all of our Tidal Dashes, which is already doing a pretty ridiculous amount of damage. Thesis really likes to block all of your attacks. He's quite annoying. Alright. This is actually a pretty weak damage output from Aeris, which is saying a lot because we're kind of shredding everything still. Without rush delivery, this weapon is definitely slightly less good. Where'd you get that? Okay, we're good. We're going. Alright, we did not get Breaking Wave, unfortunately. But we might be able to see it in the Styx shop here, and if we see it, if we see a Poseidon for 150 O-balls, we're gonna take it. Because Breaking Wave saves a lot of time in this area. Nope, no Poseidon. Well, we can't take him yet. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so these enemies, these rats, have a lot of health, and so without breaking wave, it's hard to kill them very quickly. I'm talking about the giant rats, not the small rats. But weapons like Beowulf and Hera don't need breaking wave to take care of those enemies because they do damage in very large bursts, which is very good for taking them down. Whereas Aeris doesn't quite do that. Alright, we'll take Poseidon here. Because we still could get some other good boons from Poseidon here, like Hydraulic Might or Razor Shoals. And there's the Satyr Sack. Razor Souls is fine. Alright. And this is the Hades fight part 2. I thought I phased him. Oops. Okay, we almost died there. But we're fine. Yeah, that was just sort of a weak Aeris build, but yeah, still going pretty well.
Say hi to Hypnos for me. In the name of Hades.
All right, and we have the final weapon of our 3-weapon category here, and that is going to be Aspect of Beowulf Shield. This is another Caspect. And it's probably the best weapon in the game, even better than Aeris. The reason it's so good, and we're actually going to switch our mirror up here. The reason it's so good is because of one duo boon between Poseidon and Artemis. Oh, I forgot to take that again. Oops. And that boon is called Mirage Shot. Normally, Mirage Shot essentially copies your cast and gives you a second one whenever you shoot it. But the cast copy does 30% of the damage of your previous one. Normally, except for on Beowulf. For whatever reason on Beowulf, it actually does 100% damage. So essentially, Mirage Shot just doubles your damage output. And actually, it's multiplicative damage, so any boost, any like percentage that is normally additive, it copies that. And so the damage is just ridiculous. So for example, you have Rush Delivery, it copies that and essentially doubles it for you. So if you have Epic Rush Delivery that does plus 100% damage, it's actually plus 200% damage when you have Mirage Shot. And so the damage output is just nuts. Braids of Atlas are now plus 100% damage. Oh, and then there's the hammer. The hammer, this is one of the ones that this hammer is just far better than any other hammer that could have possibly offered to the shield. It's called Charge Shot, and as you can see right now, it changes our shield into a ranged weapon instead of a melee weapon. And the bull rushes now shoot a shot that has better base damage than the normal bull rush, as well as making our bull rush have a range, which is really, really good on every shield, but it's especially good for Beowulf, because now we can shoot our bull rush as a projectile, and the casts end up wherever the projectile ends, which means now we can position our the explosion of our casts better. We can position it like over pits, where we couldn't do that before, because normally Zagreus can't cross pits with a bull rush. But now we can shoot it into the middle of a pit if we have to. We can shoot it across the room while still staying where we want to, like that. And it's just so good. It's probably the best individual hammer for any weapon in the game. It's ridiculous. Oh, I missed that guy. Alright, we're on to Furies number 3. We got Tisiphone every time. Tisiphone is the worst one to get. Tisiphone is really annoying to deal with. There's also like these screens where she transitions the room, and those eat up a lot of time. She also has very erratic and very powerful attacks that are hard to deal with. Yeah, I think we actually got Tisiphone every single time. Alright, so we're going to take Artemis here to hopefully give us our Mirage Shot in Asphadel. That's what we're hoping for, and Mirage Shot in Asphadel will make it so that the0nly goes by super fast. We'll be one-tapping all of his heads, and it'll be super nice if we can get that. Otherwise we'll get it in Elysium, which is just fine. Oh, hi, how's it going? You also might notice that I am dash attacking instead of normally attacking. That is because the bull rush actually charges faster after a dash strike. So we're ideally trying to do that every single time. Alright, we're gonna get Hypersprint here. +1 dash is fine. +1 dash extra dashes helps a lot on any weapon, simply because you can cross through rooms quicker. And so it helps out with your movement a lot.
Get me out of here.
Another thing about Artemis and why it's so good, not only just because of Mirage Shot, but when you get Artemis on the attack, it is really nice. Because part of Beowulf is that whenever you load your cast, your Bull Rush does double damage. Oh, I should have put that in the flare. And so when that happens, you get plus 100% damage, and then if you crit, you end up doing just a lot of damage with Artemis on the attack, because it triples that damage. And so it's so nice for that. We'll take Hypersprint. It is possible to get offered Hermes again in sticks, so we still could get Rush Delivery, but it won't be till the very end of the run. There's Mirage Shot. Let's go. Alright, perfect. So you should notice the damage now increased by a whole lot. And we're going to start absolutely destroying everything. Like right there, all three casts together did over 1,000 damage just on their own. And that is because Mirage Shot, again, doubles the damage of your cast. We're going to get rid of that.
I'll take that.
Yeah, so we're hoping for any sort of boosts to our cast here, like Braids of Atlas, that palm that I just skipped for no good reason. That's fine. We did not get offered a shop, unfortunately. This Light of Ixion might have to go to waste. The reason Light of Ixion is so good is because it essentially allows you to force Chaos, which is a free room. Free rooms are just rooms that don't have combats in them. Because every biome has a certain number of rooms that will happen, and Chaos can count as one. Go. Chaos can count as a room. Similarly, like shops count as a room, but they don't have any enemies in them, so you don't have to do anything in them, and so they're very fast. Looks like we're not going to get the shop here. That's unfortunate. There's a braid. Nice, we got Patty. Alright, I think this is the first time we've seen Patroclus. Definitely a less well-known Greek character, I think, but one of my favorites. Part of the game is actually to reunite him with Achilles.
These two.
Alright. Yeah, Beowulf is very, very good at killing bosses very fast.
Hope you enjoyed the show.
Seems like I best prepare myself for this ritual.
Things for Connie.
Give me that. Alright, we're out of here.
Do this again.
So, in the marathon time would be coming up when we deal the final blow to Hades. And he sort of slumps down on the ground.
Something here up here. Simpletons.
Take the bomb.
Do that.
As you can see, Beowulf has no trouble clearing the enemies in sticks.
Those are the terrible snakes down there, mate.
Perfect. You always want palms to go on the cast on this weapon as much as possible.
Not yet. In the name of Hades. I owe you one, boy.
Alright. Time will be coming up soon here.
Think you can beat me this time, Father?
Ow. And that is time. Alright, so thank you for watching my submission video. I do hope that you consider this for the only marathon. And with that, thank you very much.